So this is going to be part 2 of teaching our late talker how to read, and we're going to go ahead and dive into his kindergarten journey. So if you're here from my last video, then you know that we had a lot of failed attempts with teach your child how to read. But the summer right before kindergarten started, for some reason, it went ahead and clicked. So with teach your child how to read, by the first day of school, we went ahead and started with lesson 27. And for that month, I feel like we made a good amount of progress. I do want to mention that we did also go ahead and use a curriculum. We went with Logic of English, and for the first semester of kindergarten, we used Foundations A, and then second semester, we used Foundations B. I do want to make a note of that because Logic of English and Teach Your Child How to Read, they're on a whole completely different timeline. He was more ahead and advanced with the Teach Your Child How to Read. He was already reading paragraphs and passages long before Logic of English was having him read a lot of anything. Something that we were consistent with as well for kindergarten was our phonics flashcards as well as our sight words. Now, for the sight words, they were the kindergarten sight words, and for the phonics flashcards, I believe we moved into the harder versions of them. We went strong with that for the whole year up until the end of kindergarten. By the time we ended up completing lesson 40 of Logic of English, our 5-year-old was already on lesson 75 of Teach Your Child How to Read. So he was already reading paragraphs by the time we just got done learning all the different sounds that a letter can have. But I do also want to mention that in October, I did go ahead and introduce Bob books. Went ahead and just used the Bob books set 1. I believe it was from October up until February. So we were just cycling through that. Because of his speech, I was just having him read things over and over and over again. Yes, he was reading, but he wasn't saying the things correctly. And I didn't want to call him out on it and just completely ruin the confidence that he's building. So instead of bringing it up or talking about it too much, we just went ahead and repeated things over and over again. I would correct the word and then he just repeated after me, but it was more of a, hey, copy me, type of thing versus saying hey, you did this wrong. So from August to December, we were going strong with our phonics flashcards, our sight words, and then the Bob books. And then that's kind of where things kind of took a little shift because I did notice, thanks to Teach Your Child How to Read, that my little dude was kind of able to read sentences and paragraphs. So in January, after our break and everything, we went ahead and picked up with lesson 76 of Teach Your Child How to Read, and we barely started Logic of English Foundations B. We still had our phonics as well as our sight words. We did have our Bob books that we were reading every now and then, but I also introduced these emergent reader Minecraft books. Now, the thing with this, my dude, he is obsessed with Minecraft. So bringing this sparked something in him that I didn't see. This dude was reading the entire book and it has 4 or 5 different chapters in it. So I had to go and buy all 5 sets right after because he was just going and reading and everything. And I do feel that it was a combination of Teach Your Child How to Read, having him on that little accelerated path, as well as Logic of English kind of slowing down and teaching him all the different sounds and the actual foundations of reading. I feel with that combination, he kind of did his own thing. He was reading the Minecraft books, which just blew me away. And that was in January. And because he was reading through them on his own, in February, I went ahead and added another little set of books. And that was my first library set. So that is something that we went ahead and worked through and just kept going because he was a reader now. By January, February, he was reading books, he was reading stories, sentences, paragraphs all by himself. So even though he was already reading, we still went ahead and continued with our Teach Your Child How to Read as well as our Logic of English. In April, that's when we went ahead and completed the 100th lesson of Teach Your Child How to Read. And they say once you complete that, your child is at an early 2nd grade reading level. And then that's also when we went ahead and completed Logic of English lesson 80. Now, from January to April, we were doing our phonics as well as our sight words. And then the one thing that we kept going more with, even though he was reading, was his Bob books. And I was mainly using the Bob books just for the pronunciation and his speech. And then come May, we were completely done with all our curriculum. So all we did that month was just the phonics and the Bob books. So it was just pretty chill for May and June. And the whole summer we continued with our phonics flashcards because like I said, that is something that was building his vocabulary. It was helping him work on his pronunciation and just reading and everything and just seeing how the same sound can be used in different words, which ended up helping in the long run, especially right now in 1st grade. Now for the month of July, because he was already reading, all we went ahead and did was review all of our Bob books, our Minecraft books, and then we went ahead and like went, I think, midway into like the My First Library. We didn't read like the purple set because I saved it for first grade, but that's all we were doing over summer, just like reading and having it be fun, repeating things, starting from the beginning, and just having him go through the entire set, which I think was like very important because he was able to like go from reading the page kind of like slowly to kind of getting faster and faster at reading the stuff. So it was kind of like boosting his confidence as well as like reviewing everything. And that's kind of like what I want to go for like mastery. I kind of want him to master the things before we move on to anything else. Now we are like in the middle of our first grade journey, so I'll definitely share with you guys how that is going. But this dude, he's already reading the stuff by himself. We ended up getting so many different like emergent readers, beginning readers, lots of different sets. This dude, every day I'm having him read now that he knows how to read, but I'm not forcing him to read so extra. Like at least one book a day is good because like I said, his speech is what we're still trying to work on. Yeah, he's reading, but we're still working on some of those funny words that he can't say, he can't pronounce. So I don't want him to be like a fast reader. I want him to be a good reader. I want him to be able to like understand and say things properly. So in a way, we're like kind of reviewing everything again just so that we can continue working on that speech and the pronunciation. And you guys are going to hear me say that like 1,000 times, mainly because we don't go through speech therapy. So anything that I'm able to do here is all on me. You know, there's things and programs that I wish we could qualify for, but there's like waiting lists and everything. So that's why you guys see me going like above and beyond and doing so much extra stuff because I don't know what's inside those speech therapy classrooms. I wish we could like move up higher on the wait list, but we'll see. Maybe by the time we do get like it, we might not even need it. But until now, it's all falling on me, and I'm sharing my journey just in case you guys have something similar, or you guys kind of like want to get an idea of what a realistic timeline for us was like.